All right, welcome back. So in the last video we talked about a list, and we talked about the append function and why that's important. The append function allows you to add an item to a list at the end of the list. The reason why this is important is because, once again, we talked about if you have 100 lines of code, you don't want to have to manually go through each line of code and insert the item that you want. Another important function is the pop function, and say put fruit.pop, and what this does, it removes the last item in your list. So if I put print fruit, dragon fruit's no longer there, it goes back to apples, pears, or apple, grapes, and pears. Excuse me. Another important function would be, let's say, length. This is if you want to be able to print each individual, like the length of the list, how many items or how many characters are in the list. I'll show you. Print. Whoops. Print length, and then you will put fruit right here, and it will tell you, it will tell you how many items you have in the list. I don't know why I thought individual characters. That's my mistake. So you have 3 items in the list. Another cool thing that will help you out, say you want to pull out an individual item in a list, just to print an individual item. You would put in fruit, and then you would use the square brackets, and then you will put 0, and I'm going to explain this in a moment. And this will print out the first item in your list. Now, each position, each one of these words, each one of these strings has a position in the list. Now, the first thing you think when what would come to mind is you would think apples would be 1, 2, 3. It would be 1 apples, 2 grapes, 3 pears, but that's not how it works in Python. The first position is position 0. Apples is 0, grapes is 1, pears is 2, and I'll show you. As you can see, now, we'll talk about slicing. Or, excuse me, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Now, if we go to, say we put -1 for position, how it goes is this: apples is 0, -1 is pears, -2 is grapes. As you see. I'll get into slicing a little bit later on in my videos. I'm just trying to go through all the basics before I move on, so you have any to try to answer any questions you may have. So once again, you'll understand why this is important, because there may be times in a program you need to call out a certain individual item in a list and not the whole list. That's why this is called indexing. Once again, apples position is 0, grapes is 1, pears is 2.